For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here on The Scribble. Thanks for tuning in at thescribbleshow.com and on SoundCloud and iTunes. How's it going today? You know, we've had probably, over a month, I guess, of shows with celebrity guests and special programming. You know, we were at Dreams Take Flight for Air Canada in Orlando at Disney World. And so we haven't had a podcast where I have just kind of unloaded my thoughts and opinions on you for 30 minutes, right? Don't you miss those? That's the one thing that I love about this show, and I mean, I do love doing our syndicated radio shows, but they're music shows, and we're always interrupted with, you know, music. And so this way I can just ramble on. It's like I'm one of those people who I used to love having phone calls back in the day, but didn't really allow the other person to talk very much. I kind of just stole the spotlight. Yeah, that's how I am. So, no, I know that you can't, you know, you could talk back. I wouldn't hear you. But again, I always do love when you chime in. And again, my email address is live@jbonair.com. live@jbonair.com. I've got a few stories to tell you today. One about how I'm getting older. We all are, right? That's not a lie. That's not fake news, as the president would say. We're getting older. And maybe I'm just being absent-minded, or it could be an age thing. I don't know. I'm going to tell you what I did, and actually it could almost be dangerous or scary, and not realizing what I was doing in the moment. So I'll tell you that story coming up. And you know, speaking of the president, I have met Donald Trump. He's been on our radio shows 2 times back when Celebrity Apprentice was on the air. And now you can say, you know, people are saying that he's a dick and he's, you know, a bigot and a, you know, homophobe and a sexist and a whatever, misogynist. All those names that you can throw at him. But get this. I actually have good memories of meeting him and what happened. I'm going to tell you a story about the red carpet from Celebrity Apprentice and how he actually was kind of charming. Yeah, I know you're not going to believe this. You're going to just jump ahead. You're not even going to listen to the rest of the show. You're just going to fast forward until you can get to that part. But yes, I do have good memories of my time meeting with him on the red carpet in New York City outside his building after the Celebrity Apprentice finale. So that story about Trump is coming up. And then, you know, again about getting old, you know, when you were a teenager or in your early 20s and you were going to the bar and you would drink your face off, and then you would go out to a restaurant and you would eat the greasiest food after dancing and drinking all night, then you get to an age where you're kind of like, you know what? I have 1 glass of wine and I fall asleep on the couch, right? I think a lot of people, it gets to you. I'm going to tell you about how I kind of felt young again and maybe like ordered pizzas at midnight and started drinking, okay? So we've got a few stories coming your way and we're going to get into those right after this here on The Scribble.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched and who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. SpeakFreeWithJB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
Jeremy Bradley here on the Scribble, continuing on. I've mentioned on the show before that I don't care for shopping, and they say you're not supposed to grocery shop when you're hungry. I think that you also should not grocery shop when you are talking on the phone. I was out walking the dogs the other day, and one of my friends had called, and I was just getting into the house, so it was kind of like, you know what, I've got to get in, I've got to give them water, like it's going to be noisy and everything, I won't be able to focus on what we're doing, but I'm actually going to walk to the store in a little while because it's nice, so like in 5 minutes I'll give you a call back, let's talk as I walk to the store. It's about a 20-minute walk, and then we'll get caught up because we hadn't spoken in a while. And so I called him back, and I'm talking as I'm walking, and I get to the store. And typically when I grocery shop, and I do like grocery shopping, that's the one thing that I will do. So I typically will go up and down every aisle. But we're talking about different things, and I'm not sure if it was because we had said words. Let's just, as an example, milk. So I went and got milk. And then there were a couple other things, and I didn't realize it in the moment. So I was so focused on the conversation that we were having, and I really was into it, and I wasn't even paying attention to what I was getting. And I found that out when I got home. So I only had a basket. I didn't have a cart that I was pushing around. So you're sort of limited into how much you can get, right? And when I get home, I'm still talking to him on the phone. It was quite a lengthy call. We had a lot of catching up to do. We've had a lot of big things in our lives happen, so we needed a catch up. And when I got home, I was unpacking everything. And again, I'm putting everything where it needs to go. Freezer stuff in the freezer, fridge stuff in the fridge, cupboard stuff in the cupboard. It's like those things that you just kind of do it and you don't even know, right? I could have kept walking right past the store if I was so into the conversation, but I was still, like, my brain, I would say it was a quarter focused on what I was doing in the moment, physically where I was going, what I was doing, and then 75% into the phone call. So when I finally now reconcile my bill, and I'm opening the fridge after, like, the phone call now is long done, and I look in the freezer, I've got frozen waffles. I have never, ever, ever in my life bought frozen waffles. Ever. 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 And then I had, what was it? Some kind of barbecue sauce, root beer barbecue sauce, I think it was. And again, to me, that's just gross, but I bought it. And so I went and looked at the receipt, and I bought almost like $40 worth of fish. I was at the seafood counter, and and it was so crazy because, again, here I am. I was one of the customers in line that was on the phone as I was, getting checked out by the cashier. And, $30 or $40 worth of stuff here and there. And then I actually look at the bill. I had spent like $100 and some at the store. I was going for cheese that was on sale. I was going there for $6 blocks of cheese is what I was going for. And I came home with some kind of root beer barbecue sauce, frozen waffles. I swear to you, I don't even think I've ever eaten a frozen waffle, because anytime we had waffles at home, my mom made them from scratch in the little waffle thing. So I've never bought these ever in my life. And then all of the fish that I bought, again, I don't know why. Oh, and I bought a package of gravy. I didn't even buy any food that would have used the gravy, maybe the waffles. But it was so bizarre that, again, your body is just kind of on autopilot. I went up and down every aisle. I don't remember grabbing the waffles. I don't even remember going into the freezer section at all. But I must have, clearly. And, yeah, it was so strange to have walked all the way there, shopped up and down every aisle, went through the checkout, carried everything home, unpacked it all, put everything in the right place, and not even remember most of it. Have you ever done this? And again, I'm trying not to say that it's an age thing, because I refuse to say that because I'm 35 now, I'm old and I'm losing it. But has that ever happened to you, where you're on, and that's, I don't know. I mean, it's not dangerous. It was dangerous in terms of how much I spent, absolutely, and thankfully I've got money, so it wasn't a problem. But it was just very bizarre that I was so into the call, I totally wasn't even realizing what I was doing in the moment. I would love to hear your stories if this has happened to you. Send me an email, live@jbonair.com, live@jbonair.com.
It's never too early to start thinking about your next holiday. Have you checked out Mexico recently? From tequila tasting, swimming with horses, to ziplining through the jungle and watching whales and dolphins in their natural habitat, Puerto Vallarta has it all. Visit mexico.jbonair.com to see all the fun PV has to offer. That's at mexico.jbonair.com for hundreds of photos, interviews, and videos from around the tourist hotspot. Check out mexico.jbonair.com for all the fun. That's mexico.jbonair.com.
JB here on the Scribble. Everybody, I'm not sure if you've heard, Donald Trump is the president, and everybody who's ever worked with him or met him or anything has told their story. We've heard about Clay Aiken and different celebrities that were on Celebrity Apprentice with him have chimed in and said what either he was like or what was going on behind the scenes of the show. And I met Donald Trump a couple of times when we were covering Celebrity Apprentice in New York City. So I feel the need to tell you the memories that I have of him. And Donald Trump Jr. was on the show. I don't know that Ivanka was. I don't think that she was. I'd have to look on that. But anyway, so when Donald was on the show, he was in character. When he was doing the red carpet after, he was playing it up, right? He was Mr. Cocky, he was Mr. Businessman. The ratings were incredible, so he was relishing in that. And when he got to me, I asked him, I think we had a minute or so. It certainly wasn't a very long time. And we got the questions in. And on our radio show, by the way, they've found the clip and they've brought it back from 2010 or whatever it was, where it's just rapid fire. And again, I've got a couple drinks in my system, firing off these questions. And at the very end, I say, "You're a great man, Mr. Trump." And one, I don't call people Mr., don't call people Sir. I will call you by your first name. I don't believe in the whole, oh, you're better than me, so I'm going to call you Mr. such and such because you deserve respect. You're a person, I'm going to call you by your first name. That's it. But for some reason, I was in the moment there, and I did it. Maybe it was to humor him, I don't recall. And so the memory that I have of him that sticks out in my head is not from the interview at all. So after he had done the press line, we were out. The red carpet was out on the sidewalk in front of his building, and there were some fans on the red carpet. Now, keeping in mind that in New York, the show ended, I think it was at 11 o'clock at night. So people were out. There was quite a crowd gathered there, very late in the evening at night, and there was a woman at the back of the crowd. And she was bald. I believe she had a sign, something about cancer survivor or something kind of telling her story. And she wanted his attention, obviously. And he called her forward. He basically had kind of security, bring her closer. And he was very nice to her. He signed an autograph. This was before the days of selfies, so he didn't do a selfie with her, but I guess she had a camera and he had somebody take a picture. And he made a joke about his hair. She, as I said, was bald, but he made a joke about his hair and was just very nice to her. And so I know we've heard these stories about things that he said or things that he's done, grab her by the whatever, and the comments that he's made since he's become president. So, my encounter with him was 7 years ago, and I'm not saying just by that he's a wonderful person, he's amazing, he can't do wrong, blah, blah, blah. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying the memory that I have of him was positive. It was very nice of him to do that, to call her forward, to meet with her. Now, in all honesty, when I think about it, I'm actually kind of playing it out in my head as I'm saying it, I think that he probably spent more time with her than we had him on the radio. And what I mean by that is, He seemed genuinely interested. Now, you have to remember that this was at the end of the red carpet, so there wasn't the TV lights, there was nothing. This was like he was almost kind of on the street corner in the dark, or much darker than where we were in the area. And it was just a genuine moment. And again, maybe he was doing it. There was no paparazzi there. Again, this wasn't the day of selfies and things like that. People didn't have camera phones going crazy. But it was just a nice moment. It was something nice that he did for this woman, and I imagine it made her day because she seemed very thrilled by it, and so it was great. So now I'm not saying that Trump is not a dick, and I'm not saying that he is a dick, and I'm not saying that he's not generous in terms of what he does for charity and for people, and I'm not saying that he isn't. I'm not saying he is. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying what I witnessed that time, that stuck with me, and it's a story that I remember now 7 years later, and I do tell people. Now again, I'm usually countered by hearing about the things that he says about other people, and that's not what I'm saying. I'm not defending him. I'm just saying these are the memories that I have of him. Good memories? Well, why not? I mean, you have to remember it was a different time as well, because he was on a ratings high. It was the #1 show on NBC, if I'm not mistaken, and he didn't have that cocky swagger. He did play the character because that's what's expected of him on a red carpet. And if you've depending on if you've ever done a red carpet, I don't know if you have, I have done several of them, the celebrity is going to be playing it up. So for America's Got Talent, Howie Mandel is going to be Howie Mandel. But when you're off the red carpet and you're just casually talking to him, he's not that Howie Mandel that you see on TV. It's the same thing like with Simon Cowell. Simon Cowell, sure, can be a pompous whatever during America's Got Talent, or The Voice, or whatever, or sorry, not The Voice, X Factor or American Idol, whatever it is. But you have just to kind of chit chat with him. He's just a nice guy, right? So they play that character. And so Trump does that, yes, when the lights are on. But he had a genuine moment with one of his fans who wanted to see him and get a picture with him, and he did it. So there you go. Now again, don't send me hate mail, because I'm not defending the Donald. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying I have a good memory of him, and we don't hear a lot of those stories lately, and that's the only reason I'm telling it. That is all. And feel free, this is also something that I find funny about your American politics, is that when I've either tweeted a picture of him, on the red carpet when we were covering Celebrity Apprentice on Throwback Thursday, I'll do a picture or a link to our coverage, or I'll make a joke about Trump, and then all of a sudden I get these people jumping on me that I'm a bitter Hillary supporter, and I didn't even know what a snowflake was until I was called that by like 17 people, one tweet. And I'm Canadian. I really don't give a crap about your politics, and if anything, Canadians find it hilarious what's going on. Let me just speak on behalf of most Canadians. But certainly no. You make a Trump joke and people jump on you as though like you're this horrible person. It's like, you know what, I'll make a joke about Hillary too. Like I don't care. A joke is a joke. So anyway, so that's my positive thought about Donald Trump. I'll just leave you with that. This is the Scribble, and my name is Jeremy Bradley.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate, at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate, at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
Jeremy Bradley here on the Scribble. 35-year-old Jeremy Bradley. Let me start out this story by saying that I have not hidden the fact that I turned 35 in August, and I did mention that I kind of had the aches and the pains, and I was just chalking it up to it, or I was trying not to chalk it up to being old. I was trying to pretend that it was just, I just slept wrong, or something happened. but I had the ultimate old feeling last weekend when I'm trying to think of what time it was. It was maybe barely 10 o'clock in the evening on Saturday. And there was a part of me that was like, you know what? I kind of want to make a drink. I kind of want to have something to drink. And then a part of me, my brain obviously, and a part of me went and said, yeah, you know what? It's too late to have a drink. It was not even 10:30. Not even 10:30, and I'm saying it's too late to have a drink. Do you realize that people are still getting ready to go out at 10:30 on a Saturday? I've been told. It was really weird. And then I was like, well, you know what? If I'm not going to have a drink, and I'm not much of a sugar person, but if like a 12-pack of Pepsi or something is on sale, for some reason I'll just get it. In the event that, you have company or something, right? You have them there. And so I'm not even, and a can is too big for me. Like, I probably won't even finish it. It'll go flat, and I'll have half of it, and then it goes bad, and I dump it. But even then, I was kind of like, maybe I'll just have a Pepsi. You know what? It's too late on a Saturday to have to crack open a Pepsi at 10:30. I swear to you. And then I kind of got hungry, and then in my mind, I'm like, you know what? I kind of want pizza. Like, I should order a pizza. No, it's 11 o'clock on Saturday. You can't have pizza. And you know what I did? I swear to you, here's what happened. At midnight, I ordered 4 extra large pizzas. I had a whiskey and Coke, or Pepsi, or was it whiskey? Whatever it was. Rye and Coke, or Rye and Coke, Pepsi. So 4 extra large pizzas come at midnight. I have a nice stiff drink, and I thought, you know what? I am not old. I'm not. So I went from humming and hawing about just making one drink to now ordering. Now, I didn't eat 4 large pizzas, let me just tell you. What I did was I put them in the freezer, obviously, the ones that I didn't finish. I think I had like 2 or 3 slices of one of the pizzas. But what I did was I threw them in the freezer, and I really, up until recently, didn't like reheated pizza. I think because my brothers did it all the time at home in the microwave, and it always just kind of looked like blech. And so now that I'm in my own house, I'll put them either in the toaster oven or in the oven to heat them up, to reheat them. But I won't put them in the microwave. And I kind of like that. So what I did was, for the next 3 days or so, I just ate pizza. I'd have a slice here. I'd wake up, have a slice of pizza. About noon, have another slice. I'm going outside in the yard for a little bit, have a slice. I come in, I have a nap, wake up, I'm going to have another slice. And that was what I did. So I didn't eat 4 pizzas in one sitting, let's be clear on that. I did spread it out. I had them over the course of a few days. But that was my way of saying, you know what? It's 11 o'clock, and people are just going out now, and they're going to be out for another 5 hours. Here I am. And it kind of felt daring to me. It was almost kind of like, this seems so wrong. It seems bad. I'm going to do this. And then it just made me realize how sad it was. Because then I flipped back to when I was 15 or 16 years old out at the lake. And we were drinking. And we were with parents, though. We had parent supervision. And it wasn't that we were getting a little bit drunk. But again, the parents were there. So there was nothing, it wasn't getting out of hand at all. And that was, I kind of flipped back to that going, wow, so that was 20 years ago that I was doing that. And having like a 26-ounce bottle of vodka. Is that what it is? It's a 26-ounce bottle of vodka. Just downing that in the night. And we'd be eating, and we'd have food, and we would do everything until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And then even when I turned 20 or so, and would be going to the bar still, because in Canada, at least in Manitoba, my home province, the drinking age is 18, so we were able to do it a little bit earlier than some of you Americans in your states. But again, I would go out to a bar, and we would leave. We would go out at 11, and we would get there at 11:30, or we'd even go to somebody's house beforehand and get to the bar at midnight, and dance and drink the night away, and then go to a restaurant and have food at 2 o'clock in the morning. We'd go to Perkins or one of those restaurants that was open 24 hours, and we'd eat an actual dinner and have a meal at 3 in the morning, and then you'd get home at 4, and you'd say, I can't do that now. Now, it's not to say that I can't do it. I just have no interest in doing it. I probably could. I almost want to call up like my brothers and my cousins, because when they all started getting married, this is before their days of having kids, when they were getting married, that was when I kind of started to hang out with them, and I was just turning 18, and I was a grown-up, so it was okay for me to drink with them at a family get-together, whatever it was. I almost want to suggest to all of them, and we should get a conference call going right now if I dial all my cousins and my brothers, and just say, you know what, you guys, let's go away for a weekend. Let's go to the lake. Let's do something. No kids. Find babysitters for all the kids. And let's just do kind of a drinking weekend. Like, let's just have a grown-up party. Because what happens in our family now is everybody's got kids, and it's all about the kids. And so when we have Christmas at my parents' house, we will... we do it over the course of 2 or 3 days. We're practically Jewish. We do it so many days. But I realize that Christmas, for a lot of families, is about the kids because it's the presents and it's the excitement of them. When you get to become a little bit older and you're a grown-up, you just kind of want to do the togetherness. Now, when I was a kid growing up at home, and I was a teenager and then my early 20s and mid-20s, I didn't appreciate Christmas in the later years, right? Because I lived with my parents, so it was kind of like, oh my God, I've actually got to sit with them now for 3 hours. Now that I don't live there, and I don't see my brothers all that often, there's a part of me that's like, you know what, I can actually have grown-up conversations with my parents now, and I can sit and talk with my brothers and my sisters-in-law and just do that. But now it's, you know, the coffee table in the living room is moved out because the kids are going to play there, and that's that. Well, my parents have an entire rec room that's empty. There's a big bedroom downstairs that I used to have that, again, is empty. They don't have any kids at home. It's just the two of them. And I want the grown-ups to, like, let's play Nintendo Wii bowling. Like, let's do something. Let's do a big thing of cards. Like, let's play a board game. Like, let's do something. But now the kids always have to be included in it. And it's like, you know what? When we were growing up, when we would be at my grandparents' place for Christmas, or we'd be at my aunt and uncle's, or whatever it is, we were... The kids, we did our own thing. We were off. Okay, you kids go play. Go play, you guys. We were never, like, attached at the leg to my parents or anything like that. If anything, it was like, this is our chance to get away and we can all go play outside, or we can all go play in the basement, we can do whatever. But for some reason in our family, the kids are old enough to go play on their own in the backyard or whatever. They're 8 and 10, I think. And so... You know, that's where I'm just like, hey, can the grown-ups play something? Like, I'm almost getting excited about Christmas because I can go and, like, have a drink with my sister-in-law and have a laugh. And, well, no, we got the kids there. So, anyway, back to the point of that story is, there's a part of me that wants to feel young again. And it's so strange to kind of sit there and go, oh, you know what, it's too late now. I can't do it. That's when you start to feel old. That is when you become old, is when you go and say, can't do it, can't do it, can't do it. And what's awkward and what's really funny is I will actually make fun of people, because I will go and say, just randomly, I'll text somebody and be like, well, hey, what are you doing tonight? Let's do a random road trip to the lake. It's midnight, let's just go. And then people say, well, you know, I've got to be up in the morning, whatever. And I razz them and I say, oh, come on, it's one night, what's the big deal? I used to be that person that would say, road trip at midnight, let's go. And then... here I am. It's 10:30. It's too late to have a Pepsi. It's too late. It's wrong. You cannot do it. You cannot do it. So I think every once in a while, maybe I was going to say once a month, and then even before I said once a month, I was like, whoa, that's too frequent. Let's say once every 6 months. I'm going to stay up late. I'm going to make a drink after midnight, and there you go. That's what I'm going to do. Do you have a cutoff time for when you stop drinking? I think what's weird is when you get older... When you're younger, you kind of have, they kind of set that time frame of like 11 o'clock is kind of the okay start time to drink, and then you're fine after that. And then when you get older, you're almost kind of like, you know what, it's after 9, I probably shouldn't. Then your deadline or your cutoff is when you have to stop, not when you can start. What's your cutoff time for drinking? Send me an email, live@jbonair.com, live@jbonair.com. I realize that a lot of these stories that I tell you just make me look like a weirdo. But it does make me feel better, though, when sometimes I do get an email from one of you saying, I agree with you. I do the same thing. That's me. I'm totally that person in the story that you just told. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. Live@jbonair.com. This is The Scribble at thescribbleshow.com.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up The Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. Just in our final moments, again, I want to remind you, you can always email me. I love hearing from you. The address is, oh God, what is it again? It's live at jbonair.com. How funny is that? All show I've been talking about getting old, being absent-minded, and I drew a blank on my email address. Wow, I think it really is time to go. Again, live at jbonair.com. And just like the podcast is on Twitter, I am also as well, at Jeremy D. Bradley. So if you want to follow along and chime in, at Jeremy D. Bradley on Twitter. All right, my name is Jeremy Bradley. This is The Scribble. Again, because I love your feedback, I think I might just have another opinionated 30 minutes next week here on the show. But again, if you've missed any of the episodes, you can check them out on SoundCloud and iTunes. I will talk to you same time, same place next week on The Scribble. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye-bye now.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.
If you want some real heat,